Howdy folks, TJ here. Happy 40th anniversary to the Atari 520ST that I have here running on my desk. I've made a video about it before, not an unboxing, but a running, and I did this little demo. And so go check out, I'll put the link down below to that old video. But today, what's going on in Las Vegas CES? I've never attended CES. I've attended a lot of computer shows over the years, but mostly Macworlds, the old West Coast computer fairs in San Francisco. Do you remember those? I did a couple of those in the early days. And then, of course, since I'm an Atarian, the World of Atari. I enjoyed some of those events as well, and some local type of shows. But the big ones, definitely the World of Atari. That was so fun. And it's 40 years ago, CES 1985, which was Winter CES, which was typically held in January. Atari introduced the 520ST. Also the 130ST, which never came to fruition, and not enough memory in that thing. They quickly, after they announced it in spring of 1985, when they started shipping these, the 520ST is what was available. Now, I remember back in those days, I was an Atarian, purchased my first computer, Atari 800 in 1980, and I enjoyed it for 7 years because it wasn't until 87 that I finally said, you know what? TJ needs a new computer. These STs look mighty cool. What's available? Well, in 1987, they had the Mega series, and I purchased the Mega 2 ST. But before that, I was dreaming, and I was dreaming because the 520 was starting to, in some of my Antic magazines, I was an Atari 8-bitter, so I had these Antic magazines that I thoroughly enjoyed. And let's see, which issue is what? In February of 1985, Atari basically, there was an interview in here. It says, Atari Chairman Jack Tramiel, exclusive interview. And he mentions in here, they're coming out with the GEM operating system for the new computers. And then slowly but surely, the issue of April 1985 had some pictures, more than just an interview, but pictures. What page was it on? We're going to do this together. Welcome, Atari founder, goes robotic. What page is it on? Secret agent. Something's in here. Let me see if I could just thumb through this really quick and find it. Oh, is that an Indus GT? My first... instead of purchasing a 1050, I purchased an Indus GT. I should have kept all my old stuff. I'm such a blockhead. I got rid of all this stuff freely back in the day. Okay, here it is. Here it is. Page 17. That's a good number. A first look inside the new Atari supercomputers. Meet the 16-bit 512K Atari and more. Now, I just wanted to show you this old Antic magazine quickly, just to kind of give you a flavor, because just, you know, a couple of months prior at CES Winter 1985, Atari said, you know what? We have these cool new computers. They showed them at Comdex. Well, the videos that I've seen show the operating system in use. I didn't see any pictures. They may have had some. They probably did, but it was a very grainy video of a 520 doing its thing. And, memories started coming up, and I said, oh, I gotta get one of those 520 STs. I couldn't afford it. But right now at CES in 2025, Winter CES, imagine if Atari was still there with computers competing against the likes of Apple and IBM and all that. Even if it was a little chunk, I would still be so much happier. I would have stayed Atari. I didn't converge over to Mac until 1990s, when the writing was on the wall and it was time for me to get a new computer, because the Ataris were basically dead. But today's the anniversary, 40 years ago. My goodness, I was young. I'm almost 60. You take away some of those years. I was a young whippersnapper, enjoying computers. And let me make sure the camera's showing this. I'm going to actually launch this first. I've got a 520ST, the original one. Like I said, I made a video before of an unboxing, kind of unboxing, and a first use. And it was many uses, but you get the drift. And what I like about the 520 is, instead of it being the one with the built-in floppy, you had to use an external floppy, which makes it all a little bit smaller, like a keyboard that you could put in your lap and play with. By the time you got to the STFMs and you got the Turtle Floppy over here, everything got deeper, wider, bigger. It was more of a contraption on your desk versus a sleek-looking little keyboard. So I think the 520ST still has a gorgeous appearance to it. And I've got a SF354. My 314, which is the double-sided, stopped working. Neither was this one really working. It took me about a half an hour of trial and error to finally get this to come up. I need to go find my old floppy cleaner, see if that helps, but this is old equipment. This booted up right away. The floppies, they're more give and take, and if you're going to use a 520, the odds are this is more of a mantelpiece, the first ST they came out with, basically. So it's not getting the usage like my other STs that have more memory and more capability. But there's a demo that I'm going to run. Let me focus in on the screen a little bit, and we'll continue chatting a little bit about this. Yeah, it's beautiful in the picture. I think you've got the gist. You can see mostly everything, even the floppy in there. I'm just going to focus in on the screen a little tighter. And this is a demo that I believe they played at dealers and things of that nature. Now, I've played this before, but we're going to play it together because it's the 40-year anniversary. And all you old codgers are going, wow, if I had 40 years younger, what was I doing? We're getting old. We got to admit it. And there's some youngsters here that are probably in their 20s, 30s. Yeah, computing was so exciting back in the day because it was fresh. It wasn't commonplace. Babies weren't born with an iPhone or an Android phone in their hands. All this was fresh and new. We didn't know what computers were back in the 70s. And they came into the picture and everything was fresh, new, and it was so glorious. Now it's just a toaster. Everybody's got one. Everybody uses them. But the beauty of the olden days is it was so inviting and so refreshing and so exciting. I would have just loved to have been at the Atari booth back then. I enjoyed being at Atari festivals later on in life, but let's go ahead and launch. I've got a regular 520ST. This is stock, and it's a US demo. Hopefully this works. Like I said, everything's been a little clunky. astdemo.prg. We'll make sure. Where did I put my remote? I think the sound's up loud enough. Yeah, let me turn it up a little louder. Now, where did I put my TV remote? It's someplace. I don't know where I put it. It was up here a bit ago, and I have a feeling I put it someplace else, and oh well. Maybe I'll stop the recording and find remote. I need to push a button. Did I put the remote in here? No. I think I moved stuff around. So hold tight. Let me find the remote. And I'm going to shut up for a second and see if I can find the dang remote. Because I want the remote. Is it here? No. Son of a bitch. I found the remote. But we're going to start this over again so you can see it fresh. Now let's hope the floppy gets going. I want to turn up the sound a little bit so you can enjoy the ambiance. Plus, I need to make sure it picks up from my little mic here on my chest. So, just picture yourself, 1985, CES. I don't know when this particular demo came out, but you can think it was then. And all of a sudden, you hear this on the stage. Atari presents Power Without the Price. I love that slogan. How about you? And just seeing this, a Mac back in 1984, 85 was black and white. We had the colors. We're not Amish. We like more than black and white. We like the funny colors and sound. Listen to this beautiful sound. The Atari 520ST computer system. Oh, it was such a so the Atari 520ST computer system, a nice big old picture. Animation, you got the Atari flickering. You got the computer flickering a little bit. And here's your choices. You could go for a 520ST at $799, a PC at almost $5,000, a Mac at almost $2,000, an Amiga at almost $18,000. You do the math. I did the math, and that's why I purchased an Atari ST in 1987, a Mega 2 ST. But you can see all the specs here. Atari, too bad they didn't stick around for a little longer, right? So that window closes. What's up next? I think what they do is they flash the device they're going to talk about. And here's your fast storage, a 354 or 314, 360K or 720K. Atari hard disks, available with 20 megabytes. Oh boy, about 7,000 typed pages. Because you were going to use this for business, weren't you? And there were some businesses that prospered on an Atari computer back in those days. Closing down. What else is next? Maybe they're going to show the monitor or the printer, the mouse. I don't know. Okay, it looks like maybe the printer. Printer compatible with all ST features. SMM 804. It's a matrix printer, 80 columns. Tractor fed, also compatible with many standard printers. Uses the same interface, Centronic style, parallel as IBM PC. Now, I never owned an SMM 804. I think I had a 1025 back with the 8-bit, and then I don't think I ever purchased an Atari branded ST printer of that time. I ended up getting a... Oh, they're going to talk about monitors now. What did I end up getting? I forget. Epson, I think. The Atari monitors, color SC1224 or monochrome SM124. Now this big 43-inch 4K TV is none of them, but look how glorious this looks. If you couldn't afford to spend more on a monitor, this has a TV output so you could buy it, connect it up to your TV at home, enjoy it, and then when you could, get a higher resolution monitor. So they were thinking, they had good old RF feeds back in that day. And it looks glorious on this LCD TV. Can picture a video game doing that. Now it's showing on here little screens, little songs. What's next? Are they going to talk about music and other things? Sure, Atari presents music power without the price. We're going to go through this whole demo. Hopefully the half of a floppy here can handle it. Gives you unbeatable music. Design your own instruments. Take full control of the Atari 520ST 3-voice sound generator. Now, I will admit, the sound on the STs was adequate. The Amigas, probably better. I hate to say that, but this had MIDI ports, which musicians could utilize out of the box. So it had a step up there, but a step down in terms of the actual music and stuff that you could play in your video games. Music studio designed and developed by Audio Light Inc. Are you still around, Audio Light Inc.? No idea. Did you get bought by somebody? Oh, bring back the 1980s, please, for a little while, just for a little while. In terms of computing excitement, it's no longer exciting like it used to be. Now it's just, okay, they came out with a faster processor, faster this. Nothing is taking leaps and bounds further. Music. That's right. Well done, Atari. What's next? So it's honing down on the screen. It's going to show something else. Like I said, this is the only 360K version floppy, so I don't know if this demo has all of that on 360K. Graphics power without the price. What are we going to talk about? Video game capability? Graphic program? Envision gives you full access to the Atari ST's graphic capabilities with over 70 features. Now, imagine if this was on the Atari display. I've got them, plenty of them, but it wouldn't be too great for audio experience for a YouTube video, so I put it on this big TV. Zoom in on that golden dog, golden lab, I'm guessing, and it's showing you the little program. Large, small, bold, light, skewing, underline, outline. The Atari ST makes combining text and graphics so much easier. So the graphic power. It was starting to show a little desktop publishing capability, right? Music power, graphics power, and more. Is it going to show more, or is this the end of this this video? I don't know. But CES, right now going on 2025, it doesn't have Atari there. It doesn't have Amiga there, Commodore. First word. Okay, now we're into the business side. First word. Obviously, businessy. You could do business with an Atari. So back at the show in '85, they were starting to show all this stuff and saying, you could use an Atari for a fraction of the price. Even though the sound is not as high-end as an Amiga would have been, in terms of the sound chip and all that, it still got the job done, in my opinion. DB Master database program. So these type of programs are great on the monochrome monitor. Atari monochrome monitor was so pristine and sharp. I gotta say the Atari monitors were good. The color one was, well, nice, and it worked, and it had built-in sound and all that, but it wasn't as high a resolution. So if you're gonna do graphic-y, business text, small stuff, monochrome. And I had a monochrome, and I had a monitor master. And when you got into the color of the games, you could play with the Atari SC1224. Look at that Atari diamond and a little rainbow. Is there such thing as an Atari martini? I could go for a martini right now. How about you? So graphics power and more. So it's covering all the stuff. What's next? Is it at the end? A word processing database? Yep. Guess what, folks? It's going to start sprinkling the beginning of the video back on. Power without the price. So let's end this video. Stepping back, 1985 Winter CES, Atari started chatting in more depth and showing off the Atari ST line of computers, a step up, a 16-bit computer that replaced the older 8-bit, but they still continued making the 8-bit for years because some people, that was perfectly fine and usable. For businesses that needed more power, more graphic capabilities, the ST line was coming into the picture to compete against the Amiga, the IBM, the Macintosh. And we did pretty good. I had a Spectre GCR. I made my Mega 2 ST that I bought in '87 into a Macintosh computer. It was so cool. And I continued using my ST line, my Mega 2 ST, all the way up until around mid-95, where the writing was on the wall. I had to move on. I was older. I was going into working situations where I needed something better at home. And I got myself a Mac. And I forgot the first Mac that I purchased. It may have been an 840 AV. Rings a bell. Anyway, thanks for taking a time warp back. Happy 40th anniversary to any of you Atarians that were back in those days enjoying the fruits of Atari's labor and all those hardworking people that made this happen. Thank you so much for watching the video. Have a great rest of your day. Bye, and Happy New Year 2025.